Howdy, everyone. You already know it's time for that stock market weekly recap. That's what I'm on about. Let's go. So, what all happened in the market? Well, we have some, obviously, some big news. It was a down week, but overall, not that bad. You see here the Dow down 1% on the week, but just Friday alone, we dropped nearly 300 points on Friday, which again is a little sucky. Friday really ruined the week, and there's no doubt, and there's definitely good reason for it. So it's something you notice with the other charts as well. Friday became a nightmare, obviously, due to this coronavirus, as I mentioned in a prior video. We'll get more into it in just a little bit, but the U.S. declared it as an epidemic. So obviously, whenever the U.S. gets involved in this, we put a travel ban now on a couple countries over there near China, and China itself, obviously. So there's a travel ban, obviously, to stop the spread, ideally, of this, which is completely understandable. But investors really just, they freak out about everything. So that's typically where you get this kind of reaction. From an S&P 500 standpoint, on the week, down 0.5, but overall, I mean, year to date, just for the month, we're up 0.79. Crazy. For the Dow year to date too, you gotta mention that. So we're gonna end January. Year to date, this thing is flat, so no movement there. From the Nasdaq on the 5-day, it's actually up. Surprising. Up a solid 0.6%. From a year to date standpoint. Once it loads, if it does, you're gonna do me like this. All right, year to date, what do we have? Up 2.27. That's right. So Nasdaq's still crushing it, as it tends to do. Absolutely, that's what I'm talking about. So that's it for what I would consider there to be looking at the markets. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at some of the news articles. Then we're gonna go ahead and look at some of the winners and losers, the stocks that performed well, the stocks that have been getting hit a little bit harder. Obviously, every stock kind of got hit pretty hard because of the virus fears. And I mentioned this prior too. The coronavirus is a little bit too outstated. I mean, if you're thinking about actual issues, I mean, we lost I think the number was somewhere for like 80,000 people died due to just the flu last year in the United States alone. So I think this is definitely completely outstated, and investors are freaking out over something that really overall is a lot less than what is affecting a lot of people. I mean, the people that are, I hate anyone's losing their lives over this coronavirus, but it's older people. That's just how it is. Same thing with the flu. That's kind of just how it goes. Weaker immune system, harder to fight off that cold, harder to fight off those symptoms, and that's what happens. So investors need to chill out, and I think they will. And I mentioned too, it's going to be a solid at least 3-week period where the market's going to be a very, very shaky, because we're going to be hearing a bunch of news about how many people are there. It's the bear gang. They're out here to try to ruin our fun. But all things considered, I think I'm okay with it. The market's been so hot. A little bit of a flat to down streak is perfectly fine, in my opinion. I have no problem with it. So Wall Street sold off at the end of the week as investors increasingly fearful of potential global economic impact of the spreading coronavirus. And there is certainly some potential impact, because there are plenty of places shutting down stores in China to stop spreading. Places like Starbucks, I know, are shutting down, and McDonald's shutting down to avoid any sort of extra spreading if they can try to. So the Dow dropped 2.5%, the S&P dropped 2.1%, and the Nasdaq lost almost 2% as well. So rough stuff, but overall tech did pretty okay. You see, one of the big losers today would be Apple. Went down 4.5% too, which is crazy. As far as other news is concerned, though, we're going to get into that. So we are going to go ahead and look at, what in the world is going on here? So, with the stroke of midnight in Brussels, the UK has exited the European Union. So it's official. Brexit is official. So our job as the government, my job, is to bring this country together and take us forward, says Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson. While the official arrival of the exit isn't likely to have an immediate effect on the citizens' lives, political winds were blowing around the 10 Downing Street, with Johnson invoking the dawn of a new era in which we no longer accept that your life chances, your family's life chances, should depend on which part of the country you grow up in, which is fair. So that includes Britain working to forge a closer relationship with the United States President Donald Trumpy. So again, I kind of like this move by them. I think overall, exiting from the European Union makes sense from Britain's perspective. I'm not a huge fan of the European Union as a whole. I just don't know if I necessarily agree with that in terms of just economically. I don't understand the philosophy, but we'll see what happens for London now. See what happens if we go ahead and see what happens. That's just crazy. The UK out of the European Union. That's crazy stuff. We're living in some interesting times. So we're just going to look at some of the after hours movers. We have Syros Pharmaceuticals, Best Incorporated, not Best Buy, by the way. It's plus 7%. Maxar Technologies, stock I talked about quite a bit, but overall, this thing was down 6% today, so the after hours didn't really do that much. Baidu, which was up 4.3% after hours. And Zillow was up 3.7% after hours. It's hurting me right now. Losers, Vanda Pharmaceuticals down 7.8. Inovio Pharmaceuticals down 2.7. Rayonier Advanced Materials down 2.6. We have Costamare down 2.4, and Oil States International down 2.3. Crazy. What else? We're going to look at some of the, that's right, weekly ETF movers. So one thing you might notice here, obviously right off the bat, would be the VIX. Because it is the 2 times leveraged one, this is entirely based off of market volatility. So when the market's volatile, this thing goes up. When it's not volatile, it goes down. And right now, the market is very volatile with this coronavirus. We're going to grab some Ronas with the boys, drink some Ronas with some limes. Just kidding. It's disgusting. Beer's gross. Don't be drinking, guys. Just stay away from that alcohol. You don't need it. That's why I don't invest in Budweiser. Anyways, I'm just kidding. I'm making jokes here. Semiconductor bear, 3 times leveraged. Direxion was up 21.3%. Direxion National Gas bear, 3 times leverage. Again, 3 times leverage. Man, this is crazy. 21% up. The Ultra VIX short-term future pro shares up 20. Again, all based off of volatility. Then we have the Direxion FTSE China bear, 3 times leverage. Again, up 19%. Again, these are going to be related to those bear ETFs are pretty much going up when the market goes down. And these are all triple leveraged ones for the most part. So you usually see, obviously, they move a lot more than the ones that aren't leveraged. So as far as the losers, the South Korea bull, triple leverage, down 23.6. The semiconductor bull, 3 times, which again, this is just pretty much rivaling the losers. These are pretty much the bull versions are the gainers. But when the market goes down, they're losers. So natural gas bull down 19.7. The Direxion S&P Oil and gas bull, 3 times leverage, down 18%, and the iPath U.S. Treasury 10-year bear down 18.1. So for the top non-leveraged ones, which are really the ones we care about, naturally you will see we'll see the velocity shares, 1 times leveraged, long V stocks, futures, ETN, up 14.4. The VS VIX short term, again, all about the volatility of the market, up 14. Short term futures pro shares up 14.2. Again, another one that's the VIX. It's all about volatility. iPath B, S&P 500 VIX short term futures, and guess what? Also the S&P 500 mid-term futures for the VIX. What a shocker. All this volatility is making them go up. From the non-leveraged, you get breakaway dry bulk shipping ETF was down 11.8%. The GX MSCI China Informational Technology ETF was down 9.9%. China A iShares MSCI was down 8.6%. South Korea iShares MSCI down 8.3%. And the South Korea Franklin FTSE down 8.2%. As far as some other, we're just looking at stocks now. Glowpoint was up 15%. HT2 was up 12%. Intelsat up 12%. Synergis Tech up 10%. Unix up 10%. As far as losers, we got Identiv down 21%. Jayan Group down 18%. Fujian Blue Hat Interactive Entertainment down 17%. Yayo down 11%, and Nant Health down 10%. Some of just the obviously major important stocks we want to talk about here. Just 2 more to wrap up the week to talk to you about would be Amazon. This bad boy on the week is, well, you can see after their earnings they just shot up, as I mentioned, up 10% for the week, which is very big for this. Obviously, in a time when the market went down, guess what? Amazon went up, 7% today. So that doesn't care that the market was down. Amazon didn't care. The earnings were that good. And Tesla, too. Got to mention Tesla out here. Reported earnings as well. This thing's up 20% this week. What a shocker. This thing's out of control. That's really all I got for you today in terms of this recap. Hope you enjoyed.